Okay, so I thought, because I haven't heard about him in quite some time since his divorce, we would check in on Steven Crowder's channel. Now, I was expecting, like, I don't know, maybe he wouldn't have uploaded in a few months or like a year or something, but he's been uploading maybe a few times every month for the last year or so. And one of the videos he uploaded on his channel, I don't even think it has him in it, is called Alex Jones Has Shocking Revelation. Is the Devil Here? This is basically just a straight up Alex Jones segment re-upload straight onto YouTube. Now, here I am, watching as Alex Jones, who has been blacklisted and banned from YouTube and every other platform, is being re-uploaded to 500,000 views onto YouTube by a channel with 6 million subscribers almost. And somehow that's all good with YouTube and goes right under the radar. But when my channel covers anti-vaxxers as a topic, I get false striked. Very interesting algorithm and bot system you've got there with moderation, YouTube. Just, kind of interesting. Maybe a little fishy that, Alex Jones in my video can get detected and I can get a false strike for restreaming his content, supposedly. But you're just all good, despite getting 500,000 views there. It just looks a little, just a little concerning there. I'm not doing that bit anymore. I'm sorry. Anyway. I'm curious to see, is the devil here? Does Alex Jones have a point? Is the devil here? This video is an hour and a half long. We're not going to watch the whole thing, but hopefully we get some good Alex Jones rambling early on.
Is an initiative that we're starting, and I ask that you consider joining us. If you go to my Instagram or my Twitter right now, everything is gone. There needs to be a change of course before we get to the point that there's no turning back. A lot of the things that we discuss, the artificial machine would tell you, you don't want to see it. I don't agree. I'm going to see you on the 22nd.
Is this him, like, wiping his presence off the internet after the divorce because he's in shame from how much everybody dunked on him, even on the right? Mind you, he had a whole meltdown about how he's pissed off that it was legal for his wife to divorce him without his permission. That was, like, his whole, like, meltdown video. Him melting down that feminism has made it, so that it is now legal for women to divorce their husbands without their husband's permission. Also, if you want to see what conservatives' opinions are on marital rape, go on Twitter and simply tweet, "Marital rape is bad," and then go to bed and wake up the next morning and read the, like, dozens of comments from conservatives, like, all coming out of nowhere, no matter how small of an account you are, saying, there is no such thing as marital rape. A husband cannot rape a wife. They will be ranging between, like, extreme Islamist accounts and, like, cross in the name Christian conservative Pepe poster accounts. That is the state of conservatism on Twitter, at least right now.
Gerald apologizes apologetics.
It doesn't mean that.
All right, Mug Club. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us for Gerald Apologizes Apologetics. It doesn't quite mean what they say that it means. I understand that. They just do that to kind of, punk me because we spend all this money on the intros for everybody else, but not for me. That's fine. That's fine. I'll get over it. I'll be okay. Don't worry about me. I had an interesting conversation back in June.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that are turning the friggin' frogs gay. This bull crap. I'm sorry. Alex Jones is always going to be funny. He's a demonic, awful human being. Like, pretty much human shit. Like a literal steaming pile of human shit. But he's really goddamn funny.
With our guest today, and it was very quick on the show, and we started talking about demons and the mark of the beast, and I was like, that's eschatology. I'm very interested in that. And so Alex...
This is the shit Tim Pool was talking about earlier, right? Or no. That was what Joe Rogan was talking about earlier. Dude, I'm telling you, these people have some sort of guy or group that is giving them talking points and telling them what to talk about and make part of the culture war. There is no way it is coincidence that this whole, like, Mark of the Beast Christianity narrative that's getting popular right now among conservatives unanimously is a coincidence. It's Trump. Did Trump say something about the mark of the beast? Are they just repeating him?
Alex Jones, I thought I'd come down here and hang out in your world and we could continue our
Jesus
conversation.
is
I think it
prison.
literally lasted maybe 60 seconds on air, and we didn't really get into it a whole lot.
Captain Morgan, you are now promoted to Admiral Morgan.
Admiral Morgan, sitting in this chair is a little weird. I mean, it's just like, this is kind of a nice place. I like it. I've seen this on...
I unironically think we're going to end up coming full circle to atheism content being king again. Like, imagine that. Imagine if that was the cycle of internet culture. You start out with the popularity of atheism content, dunking on traditionalist conservative Christians. That morphs and transforms into the anti-SJW community, which ends up being on top. That morphs and transforms into being, into like BreadTube, the left being on top. That morphs and transforms into like Christian idealist right-wingers being on top. And then we make the full circle again as a reaction to that, back to atheist content, like back in the early like 2010s and 2011, like back then. Yeah, we go full circle. The only response to this era of right-wing content is the big atheist community coming back. Like, we need Amazing Atheist, Cult of Dusty, fucking... who else? So, like, all the OG atheist YouTubers. They gotta dust off their old fedoras and get back on that grind.
On the air.
I love you in Steven's studio, and you got to get Steven back down there sometime.
I know. One of these days we're going to get him in the car,
yeah.
or maybe a little.
Yeah, we've done
short
shows out on the street together, but never in the studio.
I remember that. You said something about bum piss, I believe, being...
Yes. I actually did throw up. It was so gross.
So is it just the smell of that?
Yeah, just the smell of it.
Or the thought?
And I was extremely hungover that day, too, so let's not lie. No, I mean, I'm a layperson when it comes to end of the world type stuff, but I did go to a lot of church, a lot of Sunday school. I have read the Bible quite a bit. I know there's massive amounts of study. I mean, you could have 5 degrees in it and never know half of it. But my grandfather, my mother's father, was really heavily into it, studied the Bible, Daniel and Ezekiel.
My favorite thing is, like, isn't lying a sin? This dude's, like, literally admitted to lying about the Sandy Hook families multiple times. Like, his lies led to, like, the harassment of families. It's not very Christ-like. On top of that, this guy literally is wearing a Rolex. His whole he's in a bunker right now. Like, his entire show, where this is filmed, is in an underground bomb shelter. That's, like, highly furnished and, like, made to be, like, luxurious. It's, like, capable of surviving a nuclear blast. And it's hidden in, like, Texas. So, this is not a guy who is living a Christ-like life. He's more like a super church pastor. He's basically the modern version of a super church pastor. Just swindling his viewers for money and using their faith against them so that they just empty their pockets for him. And he's using it to, because, you know, God needs another Rolex. God needs a nicer bomb-proof bunker.
And Revelation pretty much like 5 hours a day. He was really smart and quite the historian. He'd been a successful inventor.
Right.
A lot of other things. But the last 20 years of his life, he was dedicated to studying the Bible. I remember him like breaking down the New World Order and global government. They'd have a computer and they would control everybody, and you'd have to do what they said or you wouldn't get the mark. He would always explain, you don't just take it and then it's because you've taken it that you're going to go to hell. It's that taking it, you have to submit and worship and follow the whole system. So he would basically rant, kind of like Alex Jones, almost like he was my grandfather. He would look like me, just about this all the time. And I would come and visit him in the summers, and then I moved down here.
I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I have not processed a single word Alex Jones has said. I'm trying so fucking hard to figure out what he's saying right now. Are closed captions an option here?
When I was a senior in high school, started hanging out with him and my grandmother almost every week.
What years, roughly, what decade was this?
I graduated out of high school in 92.
Okay.
And so I moved here like in 1991. And so my grandparents lived here.
Yeah.
And he was just really big into eschatology. And so I heard a lot from him.
Well, the church used to be really big into it. And that's why I was really asking that, because back in the 1980s, I mean, there was a lot of fire and brimstone preaching. And a part of that was telling the end of the story. So let me just tell the guys listening and gals right now, we're talking about the end times. So eschatology is kind of the study of the end times. And just so you understand what that is, if Genesis is kind of...
I shit you not. conservatives have unironically become end times preachers. The guys who stand on the street saying the end is near, the apocalypse is coming, tomorrow. No, it'll be tomorrow. Yeah, I know it wasn't today, but it'll be tomorrow. No, I didn't mean today, tomorrow. No, I didn't mean today, tomorrow. No, in a month. Like that, they've literally evolved into their final form of grifter.
Kind of telling the beginning of the story, which it obviously is. Revelation and some of the prophetic literature leading up to that is really telling you how things come to an end. And some of the things that Alex just said would have just been in the 1960s, 1950s, 40s, 1800s. You're crazy. There's no way any of that stuff could happen. But obviously we see a lot of it happening today. And so people are very interested.
Now all of a sudden, it's actually realistic to believe in this, you know, very, very conveniently. You see, this was crazy to believe before I started advocating for it, but now you got to get on board with this now because it's real.
It's apocalyptic. Anytime you see a History Channel show that talks about the apocalypse or something like that, people tune in because they're like, oh, there's something that draws us in to want to know a little bit more. And this subject is debated quite a bit, right? We were talking just a second ago about mid-trib, pre-trib, post-trib, no-trib, whatever. There are a lot of different reasons for you to care about this, right? We'll dive into just a very basic framework of what we're talking about. And then we're going to talk about specific segments, specifically 666, the mark of the beast, how that's being potentially implemented today, and how you can make sure that you don't accidentally do that. You can't. That's the whole, the kind of the trick to it. You can't accidentally take the mark of the beast, but we're going to hit a few more points.
We're about to get some legit satanic panic psychopathy here. So this is just straight up Alex Jones, like, ban evading on YouTube. Like, unironically. Alex Jones is just straight up ban evading on YouTube right now. Like, fully on a multi-million subscriber channel with hundreds of thousands of views, Alex Jones is ban evading. And YouTube does not give a shit. And hasn't for a month. That's crazy. The bias is very clear with YouTube's moderation system.
Maybe something that most people don't know is that for every prophecy on the first coming of Christ, which that is the Messiah, that is for the Jews, that's it, right? They were...
The perfect cherry on top will be if this video gets, like, a false community guideline strike. That would be, like, there would literally be nothing more poetically perfect than if this video gets a false community guideline strike.
Waiting for and looking for and desperately hoping for Messiah to come. For every prophecy in the Bible about Messiah...
Listen, if you're still watching right now, when this goes up as a video, we're going to do a prayer to YouTube, all right? I want you to comment down below, YouTube gods, spare us. Simply that. Or if you want to comment something else, you can add it to that. It'll also tell me you watched this far in the video, which is nice. But we're going to do a prayer to YouTube, and we're going to hope to God they don't get me for calling out their bullshit. It feels like they usually like to get me for videos where I specifically call out YouTube's bias, like the last time they striked me. I covered an anti-vax video and got striked for medical misinfo. So yeah, we're going to do that ritual. We're going to create a psychic energy field around this video to prevent the YouTube bots from taking it down and striking my channel.
As first coming, there are roughly 8 concerning the second coming. There's 8 more than the first coming, right? So it's multiple times more mentioned in the Bible. And a lot of people don't really take a lot of time to understand those prophecies or to really kind of think through it. They do take time to go, Revelation's tough to understand. Revelation's difficult because there's all this imagery that's being used and there's all this flowery language that I don't really understand. And we'll get into why some Christians have a bit of a problem with that. But it's important for you to know because God spent about 8 times.
You know, there's probably like 15-year-old like dudes who wear suits to school every day that like listen to this shit and think they're like the smartest people in the world because this is what they listen to. Like, imagine that for a minute. Those people exist. That is like the majority of the young audience demographic that's actually watching this content are those kids that like wear a suit to school and have like a cross necklace and a MAGA hat on, you know? Like, yeah.
The time speaking about the second coming than he did the first coming. And obviously the first one was a big deal because it kind of saved people. Without the first coming, the second coming doesn't really quite matter that much because we would all be under judgment and I wouldn't want to be around for that anyway. But I guess my big question, Alex, is what made you start? So you talked about it a little bit. Was it your grandfather, you said?
Yes.
So Other than that, was there any influence, or was it just your grandfather's influence talking about kind of eschatology that made you dive into it a little bit?
Well, I want to be 100% clear. I mean, the New World Order has brought us the end times and has proven the Bible's right. So that's why I'm way more interested. Growing up, we went to church on Sundays, and then we would have Bible studies a lot of times at the house on Sunday night that my parents led. And I could watch it if I wanted to and hang out there if I wanted to. There'd not be like 20 people there, but usually there'd be some other kids we run around outside. And we went to church on Wednesdays, and we went to a evangelical style, a pretty big church. And so I was just growing up with this as a background. And so it's kind of in the back of your head.
Yeah.
And then my grandfather, once I moved to Austin, when I was in college, and then had my job and already on air for a lot of years. He died about 12 years ago. My grandmother about 5 years ago. He was just constantly saying, watch, this is all going to be fulfilled. And he would get really upset when he'd see these preachers on TV setting a date. He would say those people are deceived by setting a date. Then when it doesn't happen, that's going to make people fall away. That's a tool of the devil.
Right.
And he was just really, he said,
oh, all right, perfect. The key is you don't set a date. You just say it's coming indefinitely. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. And then if you don't set a date, then, the date can't come and you can't look like an idiot for it not happening. And you can't be called out on your bullshit. I like how he had to say that. People fall away. That's the tool of the devil. That's how he has to word people realizing, oh, you're full of shit. There is no oncoming biblical apocalypse other than the one we're bringing on ourselves by not creating negative carbon emissions yearly.
Comes like a thief in the night, no man knoweth, it's Christ at the hour of the return. And so then I've seen the left use that when these preachers get a bunch of attention saying it's this date for like a year, then it doesn't happen. Then they say, oh, the Bible's disproven. No, the Bible says no one knows. And if they tell you they know, that person's bad.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's all there. And so the older you get, the more you know, you go, this is incredible. I get chills right now. So I want to be clear. I'm not Mr. Preacher and I'm not holier than thou. I don't tell lies on purpose and I don't sell out to evil, but I make the point about being hungover. That's probably why I was throwing up.
I see. You don't tell lies on purpose. The Sandy Hook families would like to have a word with you because you're currently being ordered to pay nearly $100 million to them for lying about them and their dead children. So, yeah. And also he has to pay one of the police officers, I believe.
I've got my own issues. I'm not perfect. I'm not on some high horse. So many people are turned off by the church because it's preaching a watered down Bible, and it's also just attacking people individually instead of showing them the big picture. The devil's real.
I think he targeted that FBI agent and said that they were behind it or something like that, and so they're also liable to money because he roped them into the conspiracy.
God's real. You better pick a side. And so people, that's why I'm so much into end times is it's here. And it's all being fulfilled.
Maybe don't pick a legal fight with a fucking FBI agent. Maybe not that. Maybe don't do that.
And the globalists are fulfilling it and saying the future's not human. You will merge the machines. You will submit to all our social credit scores, our ESGs. You'll be tracked in live time. The Bible says everyone worldwide will see the image of the...
Okay, what is the ESG thing? Okay, we've heard it from multiple conservative pundits now. We heard it from, we heard it from the pronouns guy, and now we've heard it from Alex Jones. What is ESG? What is this code word, buzzword they're using? Environmental, social, and corporate governance is a set of considerations including environmental issues, social issues, and corporate governance that can be considered in investing. Investing with ESG considerations is sometimes referred to as responsible investing, or in more proactive cases, impact investing. There's no way this is what they mean. It could be, because they're just that evil and stupid. Literally, is this just investing into companies and programs that have benefits to the environment, like people, and fill in holes that the government hasn't filled, so to say? Is this their evidence of woke companies? Interesting. I can't believe that's what they mean. Maybe social grade, like the Black Mirror episode? Oh, yeah, maybe. No, you're right. It would absolutely be a pop culture reference before it would be a reference to something you have to Google and read for 5 seconds to know about. You're completely right. it would absolutely be a reference to a fucking TV show episode and not something that's like real that you actually have to Google and learn about. You're right. No, I think you're completely right, Kitty the Atheist. I think it's probably a reference to the Black Mirror episode, like a social credit score type thing.
Beast talking to them at once, they'll worship it, and that's television, holograms.
Right.
I mean, it's like there's no way John Leal of Patmos 2,000 years ago just made this up. There's no way Daniel just made it up or Ezekiel, and it's just all congruent, proving itself. And so if someone doesn't have the Holy Spirit of discernment, they read it's a bunch of gibberish. But once you actually are, plus we're living in the time. You said something so important that I'll shut up for a minute, Gerald, and that is in the 70s and 80s.
I like how all these people always say we're living in the time of the end times always, and these people are like just the newest set of those people.
I mean, there I was, not just going to our church, but I would also go with my friends to their church. And it was like there were all these movies and films, and people were really awake. There's going to be a one world government, the beast system in Brussels, and a beast computer.
It was everywhere.
It was everywhere. And then once the 90s and the 2000s hit, once it all started coming true, the preachers went, whoa. Because it's one thing to say the Bible says it's coming, and then it's kind of like science fiction and really interesting. But now a lot of the preachers are like, whoa, I'm not going to scare the hell out of people, which is actually, we should be celebrating and going, my gosh, our God is real.
Right.
This is a warning. God gave us free will, but God also gave us a cheat sheet.
Yeah.
And so like, hey kids, I want you to pass the test here. Here's so if you pay attention, you will. And so this is a big deal. And this is 100% real. And then I think about the experience.
I love that. I like how many times can you count that one of them has said while the other person is talking, this is 100% real. I've heard it 4 times now, one of them backing the other one up by saying, this is 100% real. Yeah, guys, when something's 100% real, you have to reassure yourself and your audience every 5 seconds that it's 100% real. Otherwise, they might forget.
I had in Dallas particularly, and then coming to Austin, and then being around Hollywood, which never tried to be in, but it wanted me to be in it. Yeah. And it was Satanism, Luciferianism, sex parties, the whole 9 yards. I never got into rituals, but I was picked up by chicks repeatedly trying to recruit me into things in Dallas and a decade later in Hollywood. Austin's more new agey, not a lot of that here. But that's almost a more creepy form of it. Yeah. So I've really, I never fell away and said, I denounce God, God isn't real, I'm an atheist. But I mean, I was in points in my life where I wasn't taking drugs really.
Alex Jones is literally saying we're living in the end times and Satan is returning during the Obama administration. It's always whatever they can say right now to make money right now. It doesn't matter if it contradicts what they said yesterday or if it contradicts what they will say tomorrow.
But I was drinking and a lot of women and and on a power trip and really prideful about how I was. And I'd say I was kind of corrupt. Let's say maybe 14 to about 20. And then I kind of rediscovered God, and then the Holy Spirit much more stronger than when I was saved when I was about 10. And then literally God started talking to me and showing me things, and I would have dreams that came true and all these things. And now I get stronger and stronger and stronger to where you talk about spiritual warfare. We'll get into it. At this point, that's all that is, you have Christ, you have Jesus, you have a faith in that. Yeah. You are protected. But then the devil comes after people that you love who aren't in God. That's why you've got to get them into the Holy Spirit, or the devil's going to chew up your family in front of you. So that's what people better understand. This is more important than God.
Okay, a fair amount of the people who've watched this have to be watching it ironically just to be Alex Jones's deranged ranting about religion is unironically quite entertaining to watch, ironically, hate watch almost. A fair amount of the views have to be from people like me that are watching this just to laugh at Alex Jones and how insane he is and how funny it is when he goes on a completely deranged, out-of-this-world rant.
Guns in your gun cabinet or storable food or water is getting your heart and soul ready, because believe me, folks, without God, you won't be able to withstand Satan. This is going to be hardcore. No flesh will be spared if God doesn't intervene.
Right. And I want to bring something back up that you said, and I'll get to that in just a second. What you just said, no flesh will be spared unless God intervenes. There's some great quotes for us that really help us in Scripture that say that unless the Lord guards the city, the watchman watches in vain. It doesn't matter. You can be as prepared as you want to be, but if God is not watching over the city, it really doesn't matter, right? It's a bigger picture than this. But churches did get away from this. And I think maybe because they started seeing people kind of practice this escapism, right? So instead of focusing on being productive here and now, right? What am I supposed to do today? What am I supposed to do in the next 5 years of my life?
These people are literally against doing anything to try and prevent climate change from ruining massive amounts of coastline, fucking up global farming, and ruining the lives of millions of people who live in developing nations. That is the closest thing to the end times that we'll be seeing anytime soon. Unless the nukes go off, or some shit like that.
if by chance the Lord allows me to have those, they started looking kind of into the
I hate it that if there is nuclear war, all these people be like, I told you so, as the bombs go off. Like, yeah, you kept saying that the world would end for thousands of years, and the world eventually ended, so that means you were right. Yep. Not gonna argue with you because we don't have time. You know, like, that's gonna be how it goes.
future, and they were so heavenly minded that they were no earthly good, is what my pastors would say every once in a while. But churches got away from preaching about Revelation and Daniel and some other topics that are very, very interesting and very important topics, because it basically gives you the opportunity to point at Scripture and go, God called that, right? In Ezekiel, when it talks about
They're really trying to force revelations. It's said in the Bible that only God can make it happen, so they're actually just retarded. I mean, these people are notorious for cherry picking and sort of transforming the Bible and its messaging for their own purposes. That's kind of like what all pundits who believe in and preach religion do. They warp the narrative, they warp the quotes, and they try to tell a story or teach their own lesson using it. And there are like good pastors or good priests out there that'll just like, you go in, you sit down at church, and you know, you learn some good lessons, right? They tell you about here's a story about the how jealousy is bad, right? Turn to this page in the Bible that you've got there, and it's like, okay, this is a story about a character who was jealous. You know, he coveted another man's wife, and you hear about the story of how he just absolutely ruins himself because of it, and it destroys him. It destroys everyone he loves. He gets punished by God for it. Some, you know, a story like that, right? Maybe it's more dulled down for the sake of the kids that are in the pews, but like, that tends to be how it goes. Grifters like this use the Scripture to tell you the world is ending. Buy my pills and my survival apocalypse kits online and give me money so you can survive the apocalypse God is bringing.
about the dry bones and the nation of Israel coming back. Like that's something that has to happen for the rapture to.
And it could happen any day now. So if it doesn't happen tomorrow, you should buy some stuff from my store. And if it doesn't happen in a week, then you should buy some more stuff from my store. You know, oh, it hasn't happened in a month. Yeah, it could happen any day. Maybe you should buy some more stuff. That's basically the grift, you know? Like, the longer people stay hooked to the grift, the longer they'll fall for it. And the longer they stay in it, the more likely they are to never get out. There are people who are lifelong Alex Jones fans. That's how long he's been around. You guys know the streamer Asmongold? I used to be a fan of him, so I know about this. His mom was an Alex Jones fan from, like, when he was a little kid, you know? Up until, as far as I know, the day she died. There are literally people out there that have been Alex Jones fans through most of their life up until their deathbed. In fact, that is Alex Jones's target audience. It's really depressing.
To happen, for the tribulation to happen. It talks about them having a temple and having sacrifices, and then having the abomination that causes desolation set up. Well, if Israel isn't a country, if Israel doesn't have the land, there is no temple, right? There is no temple right now, but it's impossible unless they're there. Well,
he started in the 90s. That's true, but didn't he do radio before that? Wasn't it like the late 90s he started doing like his internet show? But he was doing radio before that. Like, I remember seeing videos of him where he's got like longish hair, and it's like very, like, the videos that do exist are super blurry. And before that, he was on TV. Like, way before that, he was literally doing a similar-ish show, but more mild. But it was on TV for like some local station or like a conservative broadcast station. His story goes back way before his start online or even his start in radio. He's got like layers to him. I'm pretty sure he started like back in the early 90s, maybe the late 80s. He's been around for a long fucking time. There are some boomers out there that have been watching this dude for decades. Decades. He is like the new Rush Limbaugh for a lot of these people. For a lot of people, he's been the new Rush Limbaugh for a decade.
Well, until 1948, that was impossible. Until modern television was invented, it was impossible for us to all watch the two witnesses at the Wailing Wall. And it says that when those guys are killed because they've tormented people for this period of time, just by speaking the truth and withholding rain to basically say, guys, you have to listen. Let me get your attention.
You referenced leaving high school in 1992. There's no way he graduated high school in 1992. There's no way he is that young.
No rain. Let me get your attention. Listen to God loves you. He wants to save you. They rejoice. And
he did TV before he did radio. He was a Nepo baby. You guys know that, right? Like, there are videos that break down his story. It's like really layered. He had so many easy ins to the media sphere. It's insane. It's 30 years. 30 years is a substantial amount of fucking time. Do you think that somebody being a fan of a conservative pundit like Alex Jones for 30 years isn't a big deal and impactful? That is a huge chunk of people's lives. Tons of his fans have literally watched him for most or at least half of their lives.
Entire world watches them die, and then they exchange gifts like it's Christmas, and then they're brought back to life, and it freaks everybody out. Obviously, if somebody was brought back to life after 3 days laying on the ground and we've been celebrating their death, it'd be a little weird. I'd kind of get freaked out too. I get it. I understand. But none of that technologically was even possible. And so when churches don't get into this, I think they're doing a bit of a disservice to their congregations, because it's almost, think about what we have now with kind of the cancel culture, right? We're obviously both very familiar with how that works in our society. You create a vacuum. You start to create a vacuum where people go, okay, well, you're not talking about this, so I'm going to go listen to 15 or 16 or 20 other people over here talking about it, and I may not be grabbing good information, right? So when you start canceling people in our industry, you start pushing them off into the fringes, you can't easily point out the people who are absolutely out of their minds and go, you know what, don't listen to that guy. He's never been right before. The end of the world has never come. He's predicted it 17 times. And people go, yeah, you're right. I can see that. I can see that this person's not correct and not a reliable person to judge or to listen to.
This is literally just them strategizing how best to fool people into believing in their doomsday prophet grift. Like, they're just strategizing it out right now and explaining, yeah, just don't tell people that there's a date so that, like, it's inevitable and vague, and you can, like, lead them on about the apocalypse is coming forever, and there's no definitive point in which you can say, you're full of shit, look, you know? Like, as we always have with these grifters.
To kind of judge whether the world is actually coming to an end or not, and it actually does a disservice to people. So I think the church has done a bad job at that. Let me just lay a little bit of groundwork here. It's important that you understand this. It is not important that you debate this to the death with other believers. People tend to get into these things and go, you know what, I am a New King James Bible person or a King James Bible person, and there are no other translations that absolutely are the Word of God, and you're a heretic and you're going to hell if you read the NIV. Right? They tend to kind of draw these lines where we shouldn't.
God judges the heart. And Christ always talked about the Pharisees up there praying in public. He said, no, you need to pray in private. It's about you and God. And I just want to be clear with people. This isn't about even the messengers here. The devil is 100% real. The operating system of the New World Order and the UN is Luciferianism. They've got a Lucifer Trust that runs the prayer chapel in New York. At the UN, I've had these people try to recruit me. And some of it wasn't just in high school or then later when I was in Hollywood. It's happened.
I love how much of Alex Jones's claims are like, trust me, they've come to me. I've heard these things. I've seen it happen. I've seen it go down. Trust me. I can't prove it, but you gotta trust me. I've seen it. I know. They've talked to me. They told me. You know, like so much of his claims are, they told me. I'm special. I know these things. Fucking crazy. I don't really think there's anything more worth going over here. He's just kind of going on a long rant, and I feel like I've gotten my fill of Alex Jones' insanity now. Oh, man. So I guess we're just going right back into, like, the hyper-Christian doomsday prophet era of conservative media now, huh? We're just going full circle back to the early 2000s. Or, sorry, the late 2000s. I welcome it. Going full satanic panic, calling video games and technology satanic. Yeah, this is going to go really well for the right and their attempts to try to, like, pull the left or pull young people away from the left and into the right. I'm sure this will go really, really well.